Well, good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I really can't tell you how excited I am. Eric, thank you for those kind words. We have loved getting to know the Greens. I love that they are part of your church family. Lauren and I have been here to support Eric when he is taught at times here at the Brook, and we love this church family. And honestly, I just love getting a chance to talk about this God who loves us so much, and that we get a chance to love back. So let's just take a few moments and talk about where we're headed today. When Eric asked me to come and speak, and he's like, hey, this is not like a series. It's not that we need you on a specific topic. What would you like to speak on? And I was like, well, let me pray about it. Let me give some thought. And as I started thinking about it, I'm going, I just need to be honest. And I need to say, hey, this is something that God has been showing me, that God has been working on in my life, that God has convinced me and convicted me of, and I'm still working on it. But because I'm passionate about it, because I believe it's important, I want to share with you kind of where I'm at in the process. Because that's what we get to do as a church family, as people who love Jesus back, we get to do life together. And that's a beautiful thing. And so we're all just members on a journey. We're headed home, but we get to encourage each other along the way. And so I want to step in and talk about this scripture passage. But before I do, let me give you a little bit more about Lauren and I. So I married my high school sweetheart. I love her. I'm so blessed. Marry Up, I recommend it. It's great. We did church ministry for years and years and years together. Lots of different church stops here in Houston, kids ministries, student ministries. I've spent about 10 years in student ministry, and I love student ministry because kids are so open and they have this just mind that wants to ask questions and say why is that. And I think sometimes as adults we kind of stop asking those important questions because we feel like we're supposed to know. I'm here to tell you, I don't know. I don't know at all. And please be relieved. You don't either, and you're not supposed to. You know someone who does. You get to do life with that one who does. And because we have that dependency, that rest in him, we then can walk forward in confidence in life. And so we've done years and years of ministry together. We're now doing a ministry called Magnify. Eric's 100% right on that, and we've just had wonderful relationships and connections with families. And we use dance and music to teach kids about Jesus so they get to see themselves as Christ sees them, that they get to use their talents and develop skills to honor his name. We say with Magnify that when you magnify something, you don't change what it is, you just make it easier to see. And that's what we want to do. We want to make Jesus easier to see. And so we get people to walk in the door of a church to come and take dance classes or music lessons who wouldn't come through a door of a church for any other reason. And it's awesome. And we love that. We love that we get to be a part of something like that. But just like this, we get together and encourage each other. And that's what I want today to be. Today is not a lesson. Today is not me saying, hey, this is how it's got to be, y'all. What we're going to lean in is look at Scripture and say, where Scripture says it, that's the way it's got to be, y'all. But everything else, that's my opinion. That's my trying to put this in place in my life. And hopefully an encouragement to you in the process to say, hey, we can do this. So rhythms of rest. Let's pray together, please, as we open God's word. Heavenly Father, thank you that we can rest in your completed work of salvation on the cross. That is the most important rest we will ever have. Like the last song said, forever, that you have defeated death, and we have this hope because of you, who you are. Help us to lean into your word today. Lord, don't let me get in the way of what you want to say, what you want to do today. help me handle your words correctly so that we can all come away and try to be more like you this week. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Well, this passage with Genesis 1:31 through chapter 2, verse 3, and you're jumping chapters, and you grab the last verse, and that looks a little odd. Well, first, all the chapters and verses, those were inserted later, okay? So it needs to run, it needs to flow, and this is the little passage that we're going to lean into as our primary passage. And I got to admit, sometimes when we come to church and we look at a passage and it's a well-worn, part of the Bible where you're going, oh, we're talking about the Christmas story again, and you've heard it and you can probably quote the whole thing. And we go to Genesis 1 and 2 and 3 and you're going, I know the story of Adam and Eve. I know the story of creation. I know the story about the garden. What new thing can we say? God's word is living. And truth doesn't change, but our understanding of it might, right? And so what I love to do is I love to go and delve into Scripture and look for principles that we can take and say, how can I take these principles from the Old Testament or from anywhere in Scripture and extract those and put them into the here and now so that my life might look a little bit more like Jesus. So this passage in Genesis 1 verse 31 says, and God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And there was evening and there was morning the sixth day. And the seventh day, God finished his work that he had done, and he rested on the seventh day from all the work that he had done. Thus the heavens and earth were finished, and all the host of them. So God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it God rested from all the work that he had done in creation. We have this pattern that we pick up. There are these rhythms of creation as we look at Genesis chapter 1 and as we look at Genesis chapter 2, because I want to go back and I want to see, back when it's all good, what does it look like? Before sin enters the world, what does it look like? I guess first off, what I want to say is that rest is necessary, okay? Rest is necessary. We experience that in our own life, but rest is necessary. As we look at this passage in Genesis and we start hearing the phrasing, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. God created light, and there was evening and there was morning the first day. Evening and morning, evening and morning, evening and morning, and then God rested. First off, our all-powerful God is not tired, okay? Creation did not wear him out. He rested for two reasons. One, his work was complete. Doesn't it feel good when you complete something? Yeah, I'm a little bit of a to-do list junkie. It feels really good to complete something. Mark that off. But the second reason, he did it for us. He completed his work, but he did it for us. It is a gift. Rest is a gift from God. So rest is necessary, and we're going to talk about that. It's built into the rhythms of creation. There is this evening and morning each day that signifies a daily rest, but then there's this Sabbath rest, this day that's supposed to be different in the days of the week, one day that is different from all the others. I love that the seventh day is one of rest, and it's the last day in creation, but it's the first in intention. It's the first in intention. Think about it this way. We're going through the creation story, and all the different elements are coming. God's creating all the animals, the water, the land, everything, and he creates mankind on day 6. Pinnacle of creation, created in his image, told to be fruitful, multiply, take care of this world, tend the garden. We're going to get to that in a minute. But we're told all that, and we're created on day 6. So what's our first full day? A day of rest. We were made to work. Work is also a gift. Work is a good thing. We should work. Work came in, and we were designed, when we look at that Genesis 2 portion, and I start telling you where he says that the Lord took man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and keep it. You were designed to work. It's not a bad thing. Don't shy away from work. I enjoy work and baptizing the stage. But while we were designed to work, we were also designed to rest, because our first day is to rest in what God's already done. Because you cannot, I cannot do it all. There are times when we think, it depends on me. If I don't do this, it's not going to happen. But listen, if we don't rest, if we don't choose rest, then reality will make you rest. It might be sickness, it might be injury, it might be an emotional breakdown, but you will rest. So why not choose it? Why not lean in and obey? Why not say, yes, I see how it's built into the DNA of creation. I see how this rhythm is here, and I'm supposed to be a part of it. Justin Early in The Common Rule talks about how we can lean in and rest, and he talks about all these different things that we can put into our day, and some of them sound very, it's habit-based, but it sounds kind of ritualistic, but we have to say, hey, these are here so that I lean into the right things, or I don't get too tied up and spend too much time in the wrong place. Because even good things that are out of their proper priority can be bad. We know that rest is a command, but before we get to the 10 Commandments, before we're talking about the Sabbath day and how it's the fourth commandment, we have when we get the 10 Commandments in Exodus 20, and the people are there at Mount Sinai, and they're waiting, and they come down with the tablets, and Moses was the first guy to download tablets from the cloud. So Moses comes down with the 10 Commandments, and commandment number 4, in fact, the whole first 4 are vertical. They have to do with our relationship with the Lord. And commandments 6 through 10 have to do with our relationship horizontally with the people that we do life with. But a lot of times we skip right past 4 about keeping the Sabbath day holy. And we're like, oh yeah, these big ones, like let's not kill, let's not steal, let's not lie. Hey, God first. But a lot of times we'll pass up the Sabbath rest. But before we get to Exodus 20, in Exodus 16, there's this beautiful part that I want to lean in and look at, because it's talking about when God brings manna. So not only is rest necessary, but rest realigns our priorities. Rest realigns our priorities. Here's what I mean by that. In Exodus chapter 16, verses 22 through 30, on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers each. And when all the leaders of the congregation came and told Moses, he said to them, this is what the Lord has commanded. Tomorrow is a day of solemn rest, a holy Sabbath to the Lord. Bake what you will bake and boil what you will boil, and all that is left over lay aside to be kept till the morning. So they laid it aside till the morning, and as Moses commanded them, it did not stink, and there were no worms in it. Moses said, eat it today, for today is a Sabbath to the Lord. Today you will not find it in the field. 6 days you shall gather, but on the 7th day, which is a Sabbath, there will be none. On the 7th day, some of the people went out to gather, but they found none. And the Lord said to Moses, how long will you refuse to keep my commandments and my laws? See, the Lord has given you the Sabbath. Therefore, on the 6th day, when he gives you bread for 2 days, each person remain in his place, and let no one go out of his place on the 7th day. So the people rested on the 7th day. So rest also takes a little preparation, right? Yeah, you have to kind of prepare to rest. Somebody's got to feed these kids, right? There are some things that we have to do. Oh, I'm supposed to eat out 3 times on Sunday. Practical application. Moms, rejoice. Listen, we need to look at what it looks like in our family, in our life, in our home. What does it look like to rest? And there's going to be some commonalities, but there'll be some ways that your life plays out differently. And that's okay as long as we're following the principle of saying rest realigns our priorities. How can I make rest a priority? It's a reminder that we can't do it all. We need to make preparation so that we can rest. You know, being busy in our culture these days is almost like a badge of honor or a status symbol. We talk about no days off and every day I'm hustling and all this kind of mindset that, look at how hard I'm working. And it's great to work hard. We just said work is a gift. But the lie that the culture wants us to believe, and I want to love everyone in this world, but we don't have to love everything that they think. The lie that they're trying to tell us, and that frankly we tell ourselves, God, thank you so much for what you've done. I got it from here. Let me just handle this. If you take care of that, I got all this. Thank you. And we want to believe that we can do it on our own. We want to believe that we can work our way out of whatever situation and hard part is. And I do want you to give it your best. I want you to give it to the Lord, but not in a, I got this. The reason that you got this is because he's got you. And that is a beautiful place to be. Time is something, it's the only thing that you really can't buy any more of. And how you spend it tells people what you value. How I spend it tells people what I value. And we have to think about that. Part of that means that we have to stop and rest. It's a reminder to trust in God's provision, like we see in Exodus 16. The fact that God says, hey, each day, go out. I got you on the daily. Hey, by the way, on day 6, 2 days worth. I got you. Some people went, it'll be there tomorrow. And they went out, and God was like, nope. Some people during the week were gathering and keeping extra. And that's why it said, hey, this stuff doesn't stink or have worms. Because when they weren't following God's direction, they weren't doing it his way, they were running into natural consequences for not doing things God's way. Man, do we run into some natural consequences for not doing things God's way. I'm not telling you that by leaning into rest that it's going to be perfect, or that your life's going to be perfect. Jesus promised us in John 16:33 that I promise you in this world you will have trouble. Not a great sales pitch. But that fear not, because I have overcome the world. When we trust in God, in his provision, when we say that rest is going to realign our priorities, rest can become a form of worship. You become a form of worship. And we don't talk a whole lot in church these days about spiritual disciplines. We talk about, spend time with God and pray and read his word and come to church and give and serve and share the good news. And those are beautiful things. But friends, let me tell you, rest is part of that. Rest is part of what we should be practicing, struggling with, striving for. Many times we can be busy working on improving ourselves. We can be busy doing good things. But if we get it out of proportion, we're relying on the wrong things. We're focused in the wrong areas. Ruth Chu Simons, who is the author of Grace Laced and When Striving Cease, says that when it's time to replace the gospel of self-improvement for the gospel of life-transforming grace. It is not about being a better you with Jesus. Me plus Jesus equals a better me. No. Jesus in you transforms you. Jesus in you transforms you. God doesn't call you to be productive. You can't pay him back. I can't pay him back. But you can love him back by living a life that is faithful and fueled by gratefulness. Let me say that again. God doesn't call you to be productive. Some of you, chains are falling off. You can't pay him back, but you can love him back by living a faithful life, fueled by gratefulness. Because of his great love for me, I want to do things differently. I don't always do things differently. I haven't lived one perfect day yet. Let me be real clear. I do not have it all down. I am a sinner. I do not have it all figured out. I am in desperate need of grace daily. But man, here's some truth in his word that we can lean into, that we can say, I want to be more like this. I want to do this. So let me tell you, rest is worth fighting for. Let me tell you why rest is worth fighting for. Rest is worth fighting for because rest is relational. It's not just a form of obedience. It is relational because what God has wanted from the very start, back when it's all good in the garden, is that relationship with us. He wants your heart. He wants my heart. Not just my words, not just my actions. He wants all of me. And it's my job each day to try to the best of my ability to give all of me back to him. It's not just the one moment at the cross where he absolutely saved me. And he did, and I'm so grateful for that. And if you haven't found that love like that yet, let's get you introduced today. Like when we pray at the end, come forward, come get me, come get one of our staff members here at the Brook, and let's get you introduced. Because it is the biggest life-changing decision that you'll ever make. But if you have that relationship, rest is relational because it's not just trusting God, it's not just trusting in his sufficiency, but it's spending time with him. Be proactive. Be proactive and say, I want to spend time. What I value, how I spend my time, those things together. I want to spend time with you, Lord. And I hope for you that it's more than Sunday. It should be more than Sunday. And I'm saying that to you, but I'm saying it to me. Because there are times when you're like, yeah, I love God, I love Jesus, and he loves me, and he's got me, and I go to church on Sunday, and I serve, and all that, and we're good. We could always be better. We can't get closer by not spending time. You don't get closer to your spouse, to your friend, to your kids by not spending time. Spend that time, prioritize, let rest realign your priorities, and spend time with him. I love that Jesus stops in his ministry, and we see it over and over. You can see it in Mark 1:35. You can see it in Luke 5:15 and 16, where Jesus gets up early in the morning. The crowds are already following him. He's doing all these wonderful signs. He's gaining popularity. He gets up early in the morning. He gets away to go pray. He goes and pulls back and pulls away and puts his phone on Do Not Disturb. And he spends time in prayer. He spends time investing in that relationship. It's a chance for us to spend that time daily with the Lord. It's a chance for us to spend that time weekly here as a church family to encourage each other and to worship our God. We're better together. But it's also a chance for you to invest, because rest is relational. It's a chance for you to invest in others. Invest in your family. Invest in the people who live in the house with you. Invest in the people who are related to you. Invest in the people who are closest to you. Invest in the people that you do life with at church. But invest, engage in those relationships. Be intentional. Stop the other stuff that's so distracting and be a part of that. Trust me, the world will keep spinning. It does every time I do. Every time I stop, it just keeps spinning. Sometimes we think it won't. Our souls need to do more than doing nothing. We need to do restful things. So when I talk about rest, it's not just the physical act of sleeping, which is great. You need sleep. But it's doing restful things, pouring into the right people, quieting your heart before the Lord in private and together. Lauren has a phrase, and I love it. She says, we need to position our hearts before we position our feet. It's a beautiful way of looking at it. How do we even know if we're headed in the right direction if we don't make sure our heart's in the right spot? My heart goes off track a lot. I need help. I need family. I need people who are super close and will hold me to life. It's not just the grace in that moment at the cross. It's a grace that will sustain me through my life. It'll sustain you through yours. Yeah. So, let's talk about something that you can have, that you can take away with rest. Think about things for you, and it may be different, but daily rest and weekly rest. Pick something, and I don't say pick everything, please. It will not be life-giving. It will be stressful. Don't do that. Take it from a recovering, I'll do it all. I'm going to change this, and my life's going to be so much better. I'm doing it for the right reason. Biting off more than I can chew in a week. So maybe in terms of daily rest, you go, hey, for me or for my family, it's going to be no phones at the dinner table. Maybe it's going to be no working on work once my wife and I retire to the bedroom. We're not going to talk about work. I'm not going to be doing emails. None of that at that point. Maybe it is something as simple as, and some of you are going to be like, duh, scheduling do not disturb on your phone. Because one of the best ways to spend time with the Lord is to get up early in the morning and start your day with Him. One of the easiest ways for all of us to set an alarm is on your phone. So I wake up and I reach over to turn off my alarm on my phone, and do you know what my phone says? You have this many emails, this many missed calls, this many notifications about people who tell you that, hey, I really need this. And immediately my phone is ready to order my day. Instead of me saying, no, Lord, you come first, and then I'll get to whatever I can get to. And then, Lord, since you can do it without me, I get to rest. It's a gift. So I'm telling you, things that I'm still working on, I've scheduled do not disturb. But it's improved. I'm here to tell you, it's improved. You can schedule do not disturb, and it can come on in the evening. There's no magic time. 8 p.m., whatever. From 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., your phone's on do not disturb. Great. I hate the little red circles on my apps on my phone, because it tells me all little things that I'm missing out on or haven't taken care of or you need to be responding to. There's a setting on do not disturb where I can say, that does not show up. It is beautiful. Oh, guys, I love it. I want you to hear that because it helps me stay focused on my family. It helps me stay focused in my quiet time with the Lord. And then I can turn that back on or have it scheduled to turn back on so that then I can deal with life and help other people and do the work, the gift of work. That's okay. That's great. But maybe in terms of daily rest, maybe schedule something like that to help protect you, to protect your time. I have that set up, and you go, well, what about family members? If you need to put somebody in there, like my kid needs to be able to reach me, or my parents need to be able to reach me, great. Put those in as exceptions. But lean in and be intentional about rest so you can put Christ first in your day. Position your heart before you position your feet. And then maybe in terms of weekly rest, go out and enjoy God's creation. Spend time here at church. Spend time, go to lunch with another church family. Go spend time intentionally in relationship. The Hebrew day began at sunset. It's not magical, but their two biggest days, Passover and the Day of Atonement, both started at sundown. There's a beauty to that as we lean into the daily rest, that the new day starts. Just like the week after day 6 with creation, the day 7 that we are supposed to rest. We start with rest. Maybe change your mindset and say, I'm going to start with rest. So it's not magic, but choose a 24-hour period. Maybe the weekly takeaway, and it is for me, pick a 24-hour period and say, I am going to rest. It's going to be different. It's not a you can't day. It's a you don't have to day. And pick a 24-hour period. Maybe it's Saturday evening into Sunday evening. Okay? What's beautiful about that, for those of us who have school-age children, what is most of the year Sunday night? It's a school night. We got things to do. We got to get ready for the week. We got to respond to this email or pack this lunch or prep this or that. You can do that on Sunday night because you stopped on Saturday night. And you said, I'm going to spend time with my family. I'm going to rest up and be ready for church. There's a great way for us to be able to lean in and make some adjustments. So pick a takeaway for daily rest. Pick a takeaway for weekly rest and say, it's going to be different for me because I'm going to try to do this with God's help this week. God gives us, I moved to Matthew chapter 11. God gives us rest. He gives us rest. Jesus says here, come to me all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart. You will find rest for your souls, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Life is not perfect. We know that. Not even the life that you experience in this broken world with Jesus is not perfect. But let me tell you, it's so much better. Lean into that gift of rest. Lean in and rest in the now because of what he's done back then, but what he's doing right now in your life. And look forward. Look forward to the rest that is forever. Because we all have people that we love. We all have people that we care about that we've already said goodbye to. That you will see again because they love Jesus and you love him back. Forever, he defeated death. Forever, he is glorified. Death, where's your victory? Where's your sting? It's not over. We have the chance to rest in the daily and lean into that rhythm. We have the chance to rest in the weekly and lean into God's design. We can rest in the right now, and we can rest with him forever in that completed work, the way he completed creation, the way he completed salvation. We get to cross that finish line and rest with him forever. It'll be beautiful. In the process of leaning into rest, this is the last thing. In the process of leaning into rest, don't fall in love with the new habit. Don't fall in love with the structure that you put in. I love structure. I love to say, this is what I do and this is what I don't do. The Pharisees did that. The Pharisees lost the heart of it. God's always been after our heart. The Pharisees, in terms of the day of rest, they got, from a tradition standpoint, they got to a point where for the day of rest, you could only go to church and back. That was the day of rest. But here's what they did to make it about the rule and not the heart. They said, the furthest part of town, whoever lives the furthest out, Jeff, you live the furthest out. From here, we're going to walk and we're going to count. Number of steps all the way to the door of the temple and back again. That's how far you can go. If you really love God, you need to count your steps and not go over that. Let your step counter count your steps. God's not into that. Here's what they did. Those who lived super close, they got to go to church and back and do plenty of other things and not be sinning, not be breaking the Sabbath, because they made it about the rule and not about the heart. So Justin early, I said from common rule, I love this phrase. If we place habits before love, you will be full of legalism. But if you place love before habits, you will be full of the gospel. And God's love for us really can change the way we live. But the way we live can never change God's love. So lean in, choose something new to do to honor him, to be closer to him to be intentional this week. But know, my friends, that you are loved and you can rest in the completeness of his salvation. Would you pray with me? Heavenly Father, thank you. Thank you that you paid it all. Thank you that it doesn't depend on me. I mess it up every day. Lord, thank you that you created us for community, that we get to do life together. That the first moment, even before sin, that you said it's not good, was that we were alone. That we were built, designed to live in community together. Help us to lean in and rest in that community. Help us rest in your saving work. Help us to rest in our relationship with you and invest and spend time with you. Be intentional. Be relational. Lord, take hold of our priorities, realign them. We understand that rest is so necessary. We understand that it's a way to worship you. Help us worship you in the way we live our lives in every aspect of our life. Take every part of us. Make us more like you. It's in Jesus' name we ask it. Amen.